This girl's having some problems because she's sort of like a woke witch.
Yeah.
Aren't
they all? Like there's based witches?
Some of them are both. There's lots of different types of witches. Sometimes old school.
Like
some
what?
school,
Like
new
are there
school.
witches who they're like, I'm going to cast a spell and get rid of all the
Oppression.
minorities in this community. This spell makes it only white.
Yeah, there must be some racist witches.
Like some racist.
They probably own Bitcoin too.
Yeah.
She goes, I'd like to cast spells to bring me and my partner more wealth, money, and make life easier for us. But also to hopefully
the partner's like working at a fucking mine and he's like, yeah, you know what also would be good if you just got a job instead of constantly casting spells for us to get more money. He's like, you could take that time and maybe like start an Etsy store or something instead of fucking just casting spells all day that don't work.
What do you do to contribute in this household? Oh, what are you kidding me?
Oh my God. He's like, has like a really hard job at like a factory. And
That's so funny.
She goes, he goes, how'd the spells go today? He goes, nothing. I don't know. Nothing. He's back to the drawing board tomorrow.
Holy shit. And then even better is she's not even got to the spells. She goes, how is your spells for today for wealth? And she goes, I was thinking about it. I don't even know if I morally should be casting these spells to make us money. And he goes, oh, good. Yeah. Get another job. He goes, but I might still.
Yeah. He comes in. He goes, honey, did you spend $1,400 on a new cauldron? I got the alert from the bank.
We can't afford not to.
Because we don't have that kind of money.
We will.
He goes, we will. She's like, you got to spend money to make money.
Oh, fuck. That would be that'd be the worst. She goes, I like to cast a spell, but she's not sure that she wants to use her spells properly. So she's like a reluctant witch. And the problem is, she says, every time I try to cast, I start thinking about the extractive, abusive nature of money and wealth, not only in my country, USA, but all over the globe. How money's led to some of the society's worst pathologies and capitalism and destroying the planet. How capitalism is a history of slavery and labor abuse, all tied to capitalism in brackets. And they have been particularly bad for women, black people, indigenous people, and other people of color. So buzzword salad from the witch.
Oh, big time.
Told you it was a woke witch.
Woke witch.
And she goes, and by the way, I'm sure that every decision she makes is hindered by this. She's like, you know what? Let's cast like a nice weather spell. And she goes, it's going to benefit white people more.
Yeah.
Weather's been used for oppression. And you know what? I'm going to cast a spell that, football doesn't happen on Sundays anymore. Black people like football, so I can't do that. It's every decision she makes,
Why
right?
don't you just do like a world peace spell?
Well, she probably thinks like, I'm going to cast a spell that's going to make me lose weight. And she goes, but what about other fat people? That'll make them worse.
Yeah,
She can't do anything, right? She's very hindered by this.
Yeah, she's kind of like decision paralysis.
Yeah, and her husband's got to go to work in the mines. Her husband's her husband's the other thing. He's a sorcerer. He's in the other thing. She goes, yeah, no money. She goes, neither did I, man. I've been doing everything I can, buddy. So we're both doing our part here. I did my sorcerer stuff. They sort of use, it also is like that oldest trick in the book where they sort of use, oppression as like an excuse for inaction. Where it's like, you know what I mean? Like I would love to start a business, but then I'm just another oppressor. So anyways, I just have to work this crappy job and keep taking money from my dad, right?
Literally everything that goes wrong in you, it's the patriarchy.
Excuse for not doing anything. She goes, when I think of all these things, I feel so guilty for wanting more money that I don't cast the spell. So, can you imagine walking in on her? She's got the like the rocks in her hand and I can't do it.
I
can't do it. I'm getting too old.
Because we need this. Because I can't do it.
I can't. You want to make me use my powers for bad? Does anyone else struggle with this? If so, what's your approach? So she's out here, asking for advice. It is that sort of thing where they said that like, if you really do believe that it's like the communism thing where it's sort of like that labor theory of value, I guess, is that all like money comes from oppression of someone else or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, it so doesn't make sense because I've never been able to be explained properly where it's like, okay, what if I do a show, I don't have any employees, so I decide I'm going to go stand in a forest and perform comedy, right? So I'm not even using anything that's attached to anyone else. I perform comedy. Anyone who wants to show up can use $5. Who did I exploit? I don't get it.
I mean, my first thing would
obviously
be like,
someone
must be nice to have a forest, Ryan.
Yeah. But I guess you could say that there are some.
That's not even the point.
Isn't that kind of it? Like any money is made at any people's expense. Like,
well, no, it's like, imagine you say, I'm like, hey, I saved up all my money. I saved up, I've worked at,
or if you have employees,
I worked as a cashier. Yeah. It's the moment you have employees and you go, hey, like you saved up all this money and then you bought a fucking comedy club. And then, so now you own this comedy club, which can be like an asset.
Yeah, but even on top of that, they go, okay, so this person's
money.
making, doing this comedy.
They
club.
don't factor in that there's risk being taken.
Yeah, obviously for sure there's that, but then there's also, I mean, yeah, you're right. We're going into like 101 of like.
It's like seize the means of production. You're like, well, where did the means of production come from?
And also if you join my thing and I give you more money than you were making at your own thing. I mean, the same reason why if I left this to go work at like a network, they'd have to, pay a lot more because, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And you would, and then I would, whatever.
And that's why we'll be fucking ordering at McDonald's from kiosks for the rest of our lives.